Is it okay?
Pledge allegiance to the flag,
to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask if you're not speaking or you're not presenting, please put your phone on mute. We're getting.
How do I put my phone on mute?
You can just.
And touch the top of your screen. Okay. All right, he's got it.
This is my wife, everybody.
All right. Mr. Baker, has this meeting been advertised according to law?
Yes, it has, Chairman.
Joan, roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio,
Here.
Mr. Newton,
Here.
Mr. Scott,
He's here. He's muted. Go ahead.
Ms. Zepka,
Here,
Ms. Fisher,
Here.
Councilwoman Novak,
Mm-hmm.
here,
Councilman Conti.
Here.
And we don't have Mr. Palando?
I'm on him, Mike. I don't know why she didn't call me.
All right.
What number is?
What's the difference what number is?
He's
646.
6803 is his last four.
No, it ain't. 8656. What's the? Don't worry about
6803
it.
is me.
Oh, who's
I'm sorry.
8656?
No. What's the difference what the number is?
So
I
we
don't know what the number is.
So we know what block you are. Stop arguing. What? I don't see an
I
8656.
don't, well, you're asking me what the number is. I don't know it.
All right, then you don't know it.
I don't know it.
I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't realize you were.
Yeah. I know.
All right. First order of
You're hanging
business.
out with Ronnie Green too much. Don't
All right.
tell you.
First order of business, approval of minutes from prior meetings held on 10/22/20, 11/12/20, 12/10/20, 1/14/21, and 1/28/21. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
So
I
moved.
make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio,
Yes.
Mr. Newton,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Palando,
Yes.
Zepka,
Yes,
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novak,
yes,
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Next order of business, 6A, authorization for payment of bills non-NL, that's A through H. And Mr. Baker, we're going to add the bill that I emailed to everyone today for Mr. Ambrosio's back medical insurance, but read into the record how we're approving.
Yeah, why don't I explain that, Chairman? There is some sums owed by the agency to the borough for Mr. Ambrosio's health insurance. There's a question as to the exact amount. At the highest amount, it's the 16,900 and change that Mr. Diadio sent to you. At the lower range, it could be $2,100. The borough is doing a reconciliation. I spoke with the business administrator this afternoon, and what Dan and I are recommending is that the commissioners approve the upward limit that was in that invoice. But the only amount that's going to be paid is the amount that the borough shows us that they owe. So no more than the 16 and change. And it could be as low as 2,100, but we didn't want to wait until the another month to get this paid.
I have a motion to approve, please.
I make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio,
Yes.
Mr. Newton,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Palando,
Yes.
Ms. Zepka,
yes,
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novak,
yes,
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
And could
Somebody,
I,
yeah, somebody's shuffling papers or doing something.
thanks, Chairman. And could I ask who made the motion and who was the second on that payment of bills?
I made the motion. Tom Polando made the motion.
Mary Novak,
Thank you both.
Next order of business 6B, authorization for payment of bills NL related non-escrow to be paid when funds are available, and that's I through K. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a
I make
motion.
a motion we approve on roll call vote.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio,
Yes.
Mr. Newton,
yes,
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Palando,
Yes,
Ms. Zepka,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novak,
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Next order of business 6C, authorization for payment of bills to be paid from escrow accounts, to be paid only if escrow funds are available, and that's L through S. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion we approve on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio,
Yes.
Mr. Newton,
yes,
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Palando,
Yes,
Mr. Gravelli.
Not here, Joan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Zepka,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novak,
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
For 7 pending matters, waterfront redevelopment project, Mr. Samuel, please. You're muted,
Dave,
Dave.
you're muted.
all right.
Mike, did we skip,
Not much is happening.
did we skip 6C?
We just did 6C.
Oh, I just saw, okay, I thought that was 6B that we did just now. Okay, sorry.
Mike, we did all 3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, sorry.
Okay, waterfront redevelopment project. Not much is happening out in the field because of the weather right now. But your professionals are working to go through and try and get all of the agreements and the pilots worked out with the mayor and council, and so that we can move the project forward.
Baker, you have anything?
Chairman, the financial agreement and the special assessment are on the agenda for first reading on the council on March 8th, and then for second reading and adoption on the 22nd. I would urge any commissioners who can to appear virtually at both those council meetings and to voice support for the proposals, so that the council knows that we are unified in support of this for the good of the borough.
No, it wouldn't hurt if one of our professionals or both were at the meeting or on virtual to answer any questions the council may have.
Correct, Chairman. Dave and I will be there, and the outside special counsel, as well as the financial advisors, will also be available to answer questions
Sounds
That's
good.
at the public hearing. Yeah.
at the public hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, guys. That's helpful for us.
Any commissioners have any comments or questions?
I just washed my hands. I gotta wash them again.
Well, someone's got clean hands. B, Tremel Crow, Mr. Samuel.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we prepared a report that basically indicates the plans are ready to go through and go to the planning board. There is one condition that we put on, and that is that prior to them going to, or with the plans that go to the planning board, they revise the trash and recycling areas to enlarge and or add landscape screening to them, so that when they get to the planning board, everything will be 100% in compliance.
Good evening, Stephen Tripp on behalf of.
Hold it, whoa, whoa.
Not yet, Steve.
I didn't call your name yet.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to tell you I agree to.
I'm sure you do. Mr. Baker, you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We had hoped to be able to get through the site plan as well as the redevelopment agreement tonight. There's still one section of the redevelopment agreement that we're working on involving the environmental remediation. And rather than hold up the whole package tonight, since council was ready to present and there are Trammell Crow representatives on the call, Dave and I are recommending that we proceed with the site plan presentation so that the agency could approve that if they're satisfied. And that between now and the next meeting, we will get the redevelopment agreement buttoned up by letting them go ahead with the site plan and file their application. We will not be delaying the project, which we all would like to see proceed forward.
So there's going to be a site plan presentation?
Yes, from Mr. Tripp.
Yes, good evening, Stephen Tripp, on behalf of Parlin Section 1 Urban Renewal LLC. I'd spoken to Mr. Samuel earlier, and he had issued a report, and Langen, the engineers for the applicant and the redeveloper had prepared a response. Mr. Samuel's requirement that he just indicated that the plan submitted to the board have the necessary revisions for the trash enclosure area, we will agree to do. I have Kevin Webb from Langen here this evening if the board wants to hear any formal presentation on the site plan. It's substantially the site plan this board approved a number of months ago in concept form. It's just with the final engineering touches. So it's basically the same plan you already have looked at, just with engineering detail that Mr. Samuel has reviewed.
Right. Dave, do you think this is something we should take a quick look at? I mean, I guess it can't hurt.
I don't think there's a need for any further discussion on it. We went through it in quite detail at the last couple of hearings on this. If you remember, we had an architectural review. We also had the site plan review. And when we did the site plan review, we had a number of items that they had to change, like the number of parking spaces and things like that. They have addressed those concerns. And now they have the thick set of plans that is necessary for the planning board. You only really need to look at 1 or 2 pages in that. And I think it's sheet number 4, which is the overall site plan. But my recommendation is we've spent a lot of time on this previously. They have complied with the requirements that we put on them. The only thing that they didn't go through and do 100% on was the trash enclosures. So I think that you can go through and move forward and just make sure that they're on the plans going to the planning board.
Okay. Well, I'll see you at the planning board.
You will.
So Mr. Tripp, when we get to the new business portion, there'll be a resolution approving the amended site plan documents dated December 18th. And also, Chairman, there is a technical change in the name of the entity. Instead of TC Northeast Metro Development, they've transferred the project to Urban Renewal Company, which is what they need to do in order to be able to have a pilot. This is we've seen this with every project pretty much that's come through, and it will be Parlin Section 1 Urban Renewal LLC. So I'll put that on the record when we get to the resolution section.
And the resolution will authorize us to submit the site plan application.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't remember any discussion about a pilot. Did I miss it?
No, that they have to come back and talk to us, and that'll be months from now. But they couldn't do that unless they were an urban renewal entity, which is why they all make themselves urban renewal entities.
Any commissioners have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, Don Newton here. So Hartle Street, has the applicant reached out to the railroad to find out if they're going to be capable of going over the railroad track?
Kevin Webb from Langen is on the call. Kevin can answer that question.
Sure.
Kevin, were you previously sworn at the hearing?
I did, and I testified in September when we were here.
Okay, so you're still under oath. Thank you.
Understood. We have reached out to DOT, and in fact, we're trying to coordinate a meeting with them, to which I'm hopeful we'll be able to extend the invite to Mr. Samuel so he can represent the borough's interest to speak specifically about the two crossings. We've gotten some preliminary information. They have asked for a little bit more detail in terms of the crossings before they actually host the meeting, but the parameter, what they're seeking from us is being set. They do want us to come and have an in-person meeting with them and discuss exactly what we're proposing. So it is moving forward. Unfortunately, the agencies are moving a little slowly right now in the pandemic. So we are making active progress even as recently as this week.
The reason I'm asking this question is because if they can't go over the railroad tracks, no vehicles can go down the road.
That's correct. And we are also seeking a pre-application meeting with NJDEP, which I think will be scheduled in the next couple of weeks to address the wetlands permitting obligations that the road extension would be required to do. Again, that section of roadway is really part of Section 3. We know it's, what's coming, not specifically part of the Section 1 improvement, but we're certainly looking forward to that and getting resolution from both of those agencies on ensuring the feasibility of that connection.
And that road is a part of the master plan that was put into effect years ago when I was on the planning board. Walter Bedarchik requested that.
And that very fact is really the key to our argument with NJDEP, is the fact that it's a planned borough improvement, with the backing of the borough as a key part of the infrastructure. Like I said, that's a key part of our justification for the permitting obligations that we're going to have to undergo as part of that review.
Anything else?
Nope.
And you said Section 3, Mr. Webb, is, well, from my professionals, is Section 3 approval contingent on this road being approved?
Section 3, we have not heard yet, Mr. Chairman, so that from the standpoint, Section 1 can be a standalone section. Then the road will extend into the next section, which I believe is Section 3. And that's the road that will lead to Hartle Drive and the connection there. But this approval can be a standalone and doesn't need to go through and be conditioned upon that roadway. That roadway needs to have this roadway, meaning the roadway in Section 1, because that's their outlet. But Section 1 doesn't need to have that roadway until they get the approval for it.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Anything else on Trammell Crow? Do you have anyone else that, Mr. Tripp, anyone else need to speak on your behalf?
Not unless there are questions. It was my understanding that, if there are any questions, we do have Mr. Webb, and I do have representatives of the Parlin Section 1 Urban Renewal Trammell Crow entity as well, if anyone has questions.
There's any questions, comments? Okay, moving along. Thank you, Mr. Tripp. C, Faith Fellowship Epic Church Solar. Mr. Samuels?
Yes, this is a project wherein Faith Fellowship, or now it's known as Epic Church, wants to do a community solar project, which means putting up basically canopies to put the solar panels on. Our review says that it's in conformance with the uses permitted in the redevelopment plan, so we don't have a problem there. We have some concerns that we have raised concerning the width between them for emergency vehicles. And our recommendation is that those are items that are taken up by the zoning board, because this is being referred to the zoning board because the first application was to the zoning board for the church. So as a result, when it gets to the zoning board, that is when the applicant will have to go through and prove that emergency vehicles can travel between these panels, and we're not so sure they can in the event of, at least in one set of panels. The other thing is that the applicant's going to have to be concerned about is snow plowing, because there's only a clear height of 8 feet on one side of the panels. So they're going to have to go through and address how they're going to go through and snow plow. But from the standpoint of the agency's role in reviewing it for compliance with the redevelopment plan, it is permitted, and we don't see a problem with the use. We see a problem with some of the layouts. So things are going to have to be switched by the time it gets to the planning board.
Planning or zoning?
Zoning, I'm sorry.
Zoning.
Thank you for correcting me.
Okay, so we're going to take action on this, I guess.
Yeah, Chairman, later there's an attorney here who would like to present on this and answer any questions if the commissioners have them. And then in new business, it would be a resolution designating them as the conditional redeveloper. The conditions would be that they bring the escrow current within 5 days, that they sign a redevelopment agreement within 60 days, and that they comply with the CME memo of February 17th, 2021. So that would be the resolution for later.
And who's the attorney?
Right here, Donna Jennings from
Donna Jennings.
Parlin, Spitzer.
Ms. Jennings, did you have any comments or statements?
Well, I actually have my site engineer here. I don't know if you guys want to see what the site looks like, and let's just go through it quickly.
Who's that?
Kevin Shelley.
Oh, on top, okay. Mr. Shelley, I don't know that you can share your screen, can you?
Can you screen share, Kevin?
I'm trying it right now.
And Joan, can you allow?
Here he goes, okay.
And Mr. Shelley, give your background and so we can qualify you quickly.
Sure. I'm a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey since 2012. I've testified in front of various boards across the state, most recently South Brunswick, New Brunswick, Hillsborough.
Your license is valid today, Kevin?
Correct.
Okay, would you?
All right, can I have a motion to accept Mr. Shelley as an expert witness?
I'll make a motion to accept his credentials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Shelley.
Great, thank you. So Kevin, if you could just go through and describe what the applicant proposes, please.
Sure. The applicant is proposing to construct solar carports over portions of the existing parking lot at the Epic Church site. There's a total of 6,171 panels proposed to be installed over 7 carport canopies. The modules are expected to produce an annual production of about 3.1 gigawatt hours. And these carports will be supported with steel columns, which will be strategically placed on parking stall lines so that they will not impact any of the available parking. The proposed carport canopies will not extend beyond the existing parking areas, except for along the southerly property line where the canopy does overhang the existing curb line by about 3 feet. The carports will be constructed over 4 phases, with the first phase starting in the northern parking area, and each phase is expected to take about 3 weeks to complete for a total construction schedule of 12 weeks. Mr. Samuel mentioned the vertical clearances as a concern of his, as outlined in his review memo. There's a minimum of 13.5 feet vertical clearance with a maximum of 20 feet. And the 13.5 feet clearance is the minimum required by the International Fire Code for emergency services. I've spoken with the fire marshal about the project. He didn't have a vertical clearance requirement necessarily, but in the event that before this project goes to the zoning board, if he has any comments or concerns and needs additional vertical clearances, we'll agree to comply with them as well. The carports themselves and the support column infrastructure do not impact circulation of the site at all. All the drive aisle widths and clearances that exist today will be maintained. The applicant is simply going to be building over top of these parking areas in some of the drive aisles. There's a 20-foot by 40-foot electrical equipment area to support the project that'll be adjacent to the southeast corner of the existing church building. That area is going to be screened with slatted chain link fence and landscaping as well. The carports are going to eliminate some existing lighting and trees within these small curved islands in the parking lot. The existing light poles will be replaced with LED light fixtures mounted underneath the carports, and the existing trees will be removed and replaced elsewhere on the property with additional evergreen screening around the electrical equipment and along Main Street to supplement the existing trees that are along that roadway now. The proposed carports will not increase the impervious cover on the property, as solar panels are not included as part of lot coverage per the 2013 amendment to the redevelopment plan. And lastly, the 2013 amendment added renewable energy facilities and structures as permitted accessory uses. So the proposed carport project is consistent with the waterfront redevelopment plan.
And I guess, Kevin, the only other thing that I guess Dave referenced was how we're going to address snow plowing. I think that would be something more the solar landscape representative might be able to answer. We might have to give that some thought. And
I think I don't think the proposed infrastructure is going to have any impact on the ability to plow. The vertical clearances, snow plows will be able to drive underneath them, same as a fire truck. And typically they would push these, the snow into an area where they can stockpile it or get it out of the way. And I don't believe that these columns will necessarily provide or make that any type of obstacle for them to be able to adequately plow this facility.
thank you. And then just one other question or issue that was raised in the CME report was with respect to the utilities. He wanted us to provide some testimony regarding the impact that the solar panels might have on the existing church electrical service and the impact it may have on the local utility grid capacity. Could you address that, please?
Yeah, there's a new electrical service, underground service proposed to support the project. The solar panels will not provide power to the church, and they won't have any impact on the local availability grid.
Okay, thank you. I think that addresses all of the issues that Mr. Samuels raised in his letter, and obviously we can answer any additional questions that anyone has.
Just out of curiosity, hold on a second. Out of curiosity, if the electricity is not for you, where's it going?
So this is part of the community solar project, which means that they take the power and it is put into the system, which is then sold to residents within the municipality and within local municipalities at a discounted rate. So there's a state initiatives community solar program that this is part of.
So it doesn't go into the meter and have the meter run backwards. It's sold elsewhere and the church receives funds for the sale of the electricity.
Okay. Not that it's any of our business, but just, I like this kind of stuff. I drive an electric car, so this kind of stuff is very interesting to me.
Right, and it's all inconsistent with the Clean Energy Act of 2018. And it also provides, what's really important is that it provides the opportunity for people who don't have the ability to put roof panels on. They can now get the lower energy through this community solar project. And it helps assist, I think about 20% of the prospective recipients are low and moderate income. That's part of the requirements. And then about 51% of it's for market rate. So it's really a benefit to everybody. And it's 100% clean, renewable energy.
Oh, that's great.
Chairman?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just one last thing. And that is so that Mr. Shelley's prepared when he goes to the zoning board. I think you ought to make sure that on the southern end of your site, between the building and the other panels, you've got some hard bends that you have to make sure your truck radiuses can be complied with. So please address those before you get to the zoning board. And if you have to do some shifting of the panels to allow that to happen, please do, so that it's not an issue at the zoning board.
Understood. Thank you.
Mr. Baker, you had something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Chairman, obviously this is at the entrance to the Riverton redevelopment project. And I just wanted to point out that the Riverton folks and the folks from the church and the applicant have been in discussions. They know what's going on. And it's been a cooperative effort with the redevelopers.
Anything else from Faith Fellowship?
No, that's all we had.
Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. And Mike, you said that the resolution will be adopted later on in the evening?
Yeah, we have an executive session, then it will adopt it when we come back out into new business. So you're welcome to stick around, or we can get you a copy in the next couple of days.
Okay, I think I'll look for the copy in the next couple of days.
All right.
Have a great
Thanks,
night,
Tom.
guys.
Good
Take
seeing
care.
you.
Okay, resolution for holding of private executive meeting pertaining to litigation, personnel contract negotiations, and property acquisition and sale. Can I have a motion to go into closed?
So moved.
I make a motion, we go into close.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Jennifer still there?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, new business. Mr. Baker, you start with A, please. Read that into the record.
Thank you, Chairman. Item A would be a resolution approving the amended site plans dated 12/18/20 for submission to the planning board on the development project of Parlin, Section 1 Urban Renewal, Inc., LLC. Also allowing the transfer of the named redeveloper from TC Northeast Metro Development to the Parlin Section 1 name, and that approval would be subject to all CME review letters.
Have a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Good job, Kim.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes,
Zepka?
Yes.
Fisher?
I didn't get the last.
Rosetta?
Oh, Rosetta.
Yes. I didn't hear
Councilwoman
that.
Novak?
Yes.
Councilman Conti?
Yes.
She broke up when she said your name, Rosetta. I didn't hear it either. Okay, moving on. Faith Fellowship, Epic Solar. Read that, Mr.
Chairman,
Baker.
this is a resolution of Saraville Economic and Redevelopment Agency designating Solar Landscape LLC as conditional redeveloper of Block 257, Lot 3.06, also known as the Epic Church site in the waterfront redevelopment area. This is for the construction of a solar power project, and you'd be approving the plans, preliminary final major site plans dated January 21st, 2021, prepared by Kevin Shelley. And this would all be subject to the agency's review letter of February 17th, 2020. The other conditions with the approval would be that the Solar Landscape establishing and fully fund the escrow within 5 days of this adoption, that a redevelopment agreement be executed within 60 days of this resolution.
A motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio,
Yes.
Mr. Newton,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Palanta,
yes,
Ms. Zepka,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novak,
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Item C, for the public's knowledge and to get everything on the record, the commissioners and I are going to approach the planning board and ask for the mayor and council's approval to put National Amusements, which is the Amboy Cinema, into a redevelopment zone. We're going to start the process. The Bass Pro Shop should be starting to go up pretty soon, and we want to start developing this site to complement our Riverton project. So we're going to start this process with National Amusements development.
Chairman, would you like me to send a letter to the mayor and
Yes.
council recommending that? Okay,
Please.
thank you, I will.
And we don't need to put on that, I guess. Any objections from the commissioners? Okay,
you don't
any-
need a motion, Mike?
No, it's just that we all agree to it.
Okay.
Any comments from the commissioners on anything else?
Excuse
Now,
me,
just-
Mike, Jennifer is back on.
Okay,
I'm gonna admit her into the,
Okay,
thanks, John.
Yeah, Mike, I was just gonna say, thank you for thinking of Saraville with that National Amusements and looking at getting into redevelopment.
My
Good for,
pleasure.
good to guide that.
That could be a nice site, site
Yeah.
for federal revenue.
Really good opportunity. Yep.
Okay, all right, we can't talk about Jennifer anymore because she's back in the room.
Jennifer?
Jennifer, are you there?
Okay.
She's listening. Jennifer, we adopted the resolution while you were trying to get back in.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a motion to open up to the public?
I make a motion, we open to the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those guys have it. Joan, do you have anybody in the public?
No, I do not.
Jennifer, did you have a comment or any? You're kind of in the public.
No, I don't. Thank you,
Okay.
Chairman.
Have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Make a motion, we close the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.